The security camera that you install today may still be operating in 2031. The access control panel that you specified this year, it may just remain connected to your network for the next decade. That OT that's keeping a facility running may still be in service long after that. But here is the question that very few security leaders are still asking. Will the cryptography protecting those systems last as long as the systems themselves? Because a device can still work perfectly while the trust protecting that device becomes obsolete. And President Trump's new post-quantum cryptography mandate, it just moved that conversation from being a future technology concern to now being a present-day security, a present-day procurement, a present-day life cycle decision. And this is not just a cyber story. No, this is a IT story. This is a OT story. This is a AI story. But there is one part of the technology ecosystem that I believe is being overlooked. Any guesses? What do you think? Physical security. The cameras, the access control systems, the credentials, the sensors, the video platforms, the intelligent edge devices that may remain installed way after the cryptography that they were initially designed to use begins reaching the end of its useful life. And so today we are asking a much bigger question. That question is this: what happens when the operational life of security technology becomes longer than the security life of the trust that is protecting it? I want to welcome you to Security, the thought leadership podcast where security leaders unpack the forces that are reshaping AI, reshaping cybersecurity and physical security, IT and OT, IoT, and then leave with decisions that they can then act on. And so today we are unpacking President Trump's executive order that is securing the nation against advanced cryptographic attacks. And so our job is not to turn this into a political conversation. Our job is to separate the policy from the politics, separate the signal from the noise. And so with that comes the understanding of what that means for technologies that are protecting people, that are protecting facilities and information and operations and critical infrastructure. And so with that being said, let's pour the tea. Literally, that was just an excuse for me to actually take a sip. So, what happened? On June the 22nd, 2026, that is when President Trump signed Executive Order 14412. I'll put it in the notes. That order accelerates the federal government's migration to post-quantum cryptography, commonly shortened to PQC. PQC. We can make a beat out of that. Anyways, at the center of the order is the concern that a sufficiently powerful quantum computer could perhaps eventually compromise some of the public key cryptography that is widely used today. And so that cryptography helps systems establish secure connections. It helps authenticate devices. It helps support digital certificates. It helps verify software and firmware. And it helps determine whether another device, another application, another user can actually be trusted. The order establishes federal milestones that go along the way. High value federal assets and high impact systems are directed to transition PQC for key establishments by the end of 2030, 3.5 years. Those systems are then going to be directed to transition to the post-quantum digital signatures by the end of 2031. And so the order also directs agencies to go on to appoint migration leaders, conduct pilots to support critical infrastructure planning, and prepare future requirements for certain federal contractors. And just 2 days later, after that June 22nd, June 22nd, Just 2 days later after that, the Office of Management and Budget then went on to release an implementation guidance. The early work is not the mass replacement here. It is the discovery. It is the inventory, the risk assessment, the governance. It's the vendor coordination. It's the migration planning. And that sequence itself, it matters because you cannot migrate cryptography that you cannot find. And this is where the physical security industry should be paying attention. Right here. Because a modern security system is no longer a collection of just isolated devices. No, I've been championing this. A camera may use certificates to identify itself. An access control panel may connect to cloud services. A mobile credential may depend on public key infrastructure. A sensor that's out there, it may receive signed firmware updates. And AI, well, sheesh. AI-enabled edge devices may receive new models after the installation. And so the customer sees a camera, the customer sees a reader, a controller, a sensor, but underneath of that is a product with a chain of trust. And post-quantum cryptography matters because some public key algorithms that are used today may eventually be vulnerable to sufficiently capable quantum computers. Now, as of this recording, there is no publicly known quantum computer that can currently go out there and perform that attack at the necessary scale. But security planning is not only about the threats that became operational yesterday. It is also, in addition to, about how long that information must be and remain protected. One concern that is often described as harvest now and decrypt later. This is where an adversary could collect encrypted information today, and then store that information with an attempt to decrypt it later on in the future when there has become more capable technology in order to decrypt it. And so that creates 3 different timelines for security leaders. Number 1, the first one is how long must the information actually remain protected? IT auditing. How long will migration take? All right, I'm seeing ISO here. And when could that threat become practical? Now, we can't go out there and we can't guarantee a date for that third question. It's not possible. But we know some of the information that must remain sensitive for years. So think about this. Think about biometrics. Think about access histories, the critical infrastructure designs, the facility layouts, the investigations, the sensitive video, the identity records, and operational data. And we know that large technology migrations, they can take years. But that is why planning begins before the threat becomes fully operational.